have the appropriate opportunities for those to come up and we clean them up, we'll certainly be in favor of doing that.
Thank
If this property remains zoned as it is now, it's rural, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what's the density allowed in a rural?
1 unit per 3 acres.
All right, so if the request to rezone this is denied, it can still have homes built there, but it's 1 per 3 acres.
Yes, sir.
All right, and so if that were the case, what's your view on connectivity in the future? If it were zoned, if we didn't change it and it was still had rural properties on it, would you still be pursuing the connectivity?
I don't know that planning we're not the lead review on connectivity because it's really an exercise of traffic in our major street plan, which is maintained by Public Works. That's a hard scenario for me to envision simply because of the impracticality of that given our guiding documents. So this is a clear infill location that should be of a zone similar to what the Riverwood folks are.
I don't think you can not rezone it. You can't, I don't think that'd be fair to the owner of the property. Like I said, I'm all for the change of the zone, but I just don't think we have to connect it. I just appreciate that.
During these deliberations, we'll allow the developer's representative to address us and answer any questions that the council might have. So, Mr. Lewis?
Parker Lewis with Hydro Engineering Solutions. We're the civil engineer on the project. Let me answer a couple questions. Getting back to White Oaks, that's CBD. Actually, a huge chunk of Mr. Cope's property is CBD. All of Champions Boulevard is CBD, and a huge chunk of that to the west that's actually in the airport runway extension. It's not an extension of the runway, but it's that sort of clear zone. A couple things. It's all CBD property up there. The future, there's been a variety of thoughts there in terms of what would be along Champions. For the most part, it's office, some type of office park. That's what's there now is a medical office. There was mention about possible hospital. That's what will be along Champions is some type of office park in the future. It's commercially zoned. It's a difficult space probably to get much retail on, just by the nature of it. Way back before Tiger Town, it might have made a little bit more sense from the CBD from a retail standpoint. Now there's a lot of competition, but it does make sense from an office park standpoint. That's likely what it'll be along Champions. The land existed long before the runway expansion existed. So when the runway expanded, there are clear zones, bands that go out according to FAA rules and heights and things like that. When the runway was expanded in this zone, it's a runway protection zone is what we call it here in the code. When that was applied to this land, it actually changed some of the possible uses. An assisted living facility at one time was talked about being there, and Kurt was looking at that. You can't have that kind of use in a runway protection zone. You can't have uses that have large residents. Like you can't have a school, somewhere where if a plane goes down, it's very problematic.
They term it places of assembly.
Places of assembly.
Basically where you've got large groups of people that would potentially be.
Thank you. So these residential houses is a great use for it. It is still in a runway zone. It's not going to impact the future of the airport in any way. It is just a noted zone that's in the approach of the runway. Okay, so I wanted to answer that question, and then also the question I think about the future of this. So one of the things that Mr. Cope sort of likes about this proposal is whether connection is made or not. This sort of 62 lots or whatever ends up being here is a pretty good buffer between the office park and the existing residential. This was a better use. The comp plan actually calls this land office, but that was sort of making office commercial run all the way up to Riverwood, which didn't seem to be as good as buffering the existing neighborhood. In terms of leaving the land rural, that's, I don't that's clearly not what we desire. That is a good question. In terms of zoning relative to connection, I think it's probably worth noting, and one of the things about the city's recommendation, again, my client's not pushing for the connection, but it is the reality of it, and especially in terms of connecting the Bonnie Glen. All of Covington Ridge and Devonshire and Riverwood, it's all on that side of the creek with no way out. The Bonnie Glen connection is the same creek. The bridge at Bent Creek Road is the same creek. So Champions Boulevard is on the interstate side of this same creek. So unfortunately, if we had an event that would wash out the Moores Mill Bridge, it could very well wash out the Bonnie Glen Bridge and the Bent Creek Bridge, and then there's no, you see what I'm saying? You don't really get anything by connecting the Bonnie Glen as opposed to connecting to Champions from an emergency standpoint, from a safety standpoint. That's just something to consider. So again, not pushing for the connection necessarily. I'm just, if you're gonna say Bonnie Glen or Riverwood, Bonnie Glen doesn't really provide anything from an emergency standpoint. Thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Lewis? Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council?
So, I just want to clarify too, the question for our body tonight is zoning.
Is rezoning of this property, is this the appropriate zone, rezone, is this appropriate zone for this property?
We're actually somewhat limited to just that consideration, right? We're not certainly empathetic to connectivity. I just want to make sure that the question before us now, though, is zoning.
Okay. And I need to point out, as Parker said, they have shown their plat without the connectivity. So what they are presenting to the planning commission does not have connectivity.
Is there any way that we can keep it that way? How does that?
It's not in your purview, it's in the planning commission's purview. Like I said, I will make sure that they are aware of your concerns as a council and comments that were made. I think Councilman Dawson's comment about safety, I think, is a concern that the planning commission needs to know about.
It puts this body in a difficult position to advocate for the citizens when we are in opposition to something that we have no control over. That's the situation.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the council? We do have a motion and a second, I believe.
Roll call vote.
Time for a roll call vote. Just before we get to that, I just want to, I firmly believe that this rezoning is appropriate for this use, but I was at the meeting with Stephen the other night, and this neighborhood does not want connectivity. I would hope that the planning commission would not vote in that direction. Okay?
Let me say this to it before we move on. I think it's appropriate to change the zone. However, I think it would be bad for this neighborhood as well as the one y'all are building, because one way in and one way out of it is much better than two ways in and out of it. I think your residents will be safer when it comes to crime. I think the other neighborhood will be safer when it comes to crime. So that's where I'm coming from on it.
All right, Lindsay?
Smith?
Yes.
Wynn?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Griswold?
No.
Hovey?
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons?
No.
Anders?
Yes.
Item 9C is the Industrial Development Board requesting to rezone 27.17 acres from rural to industrial for property located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Beehive Road and Biltmore Lane. This item was unanimously recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. A public hearing is required.
Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. If I'd like to address the council, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Travis Wisdom, I'm one of the owners of One Stone LLC. This is our development. We came in as part of the county, and Griggs and Stratton, who's been a great partner for the city, so they'd like to annex it into the city. We did that primarily so that the city school system could benefit from their tax revenue. So this, currently we're in, I think maybe Jim can clear this up, but we're a non-conforming use. We can remain that way and nothing will change, or we can kind of clean this up and change the zoning so that we're properly classified as industrial, which is what our use for the building will be. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public hearing is still open. If not, we'll close the public hearing.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with this vote this evening? Any questions?
I have one question. It's under water resources, it said we need to confirm the availability of water from the Lochapoka Water Authority. Has that confirmation been received?
Yes, I think it's coming in from the west of the project. They will meet the city's requirements for pressure flow.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, Nancy?
Whitten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Ridge Taylor,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes.
Hovey,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes.
Under resolutions this evening, item 10A is the Industrial Development Board of the City of Auburn requesting conditional use approval for a warehouse distribution facility on property located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Beehive Road and Biltmore Lane. The Planning Commission recommended unanimously this approval, and a public hearing is required. This goes along with that rezoning that we just did.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward with your name and address. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask unanimous consent.
Second. This is a
resolution.
Move for approval.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Anyone on the council have any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10D is the fixing of costs for the cutting of grass and weeds on property located at 760 South Dean Road. A public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council regarding this issue, please come forward with your name and address. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions for the city manager? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C1 authorizes a contract with Stivers Ford to purchase one 2019 Ford Explorer at a cost of $28,966 to be used by the Environmental Services Department. This is a replacement vehicle.
Move for approval.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C2 has been removed from the agenda. Item 10C3 authorizes a professional services agreement with Volker Inc. at a cost of $38,500 for engineering, construction, and administration services for the Auburn Public Library's Outdoor Learning Center.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Jim, this is part of our Parks and Rec Master Plan?
It is. This is the initial phase of that first part of making that outdoor area of the library usable for programming.
Thanks. Any questions?
Jim, what's the plan? Is it gonna be an amphitheater outside there, or what?
We don't like the word amphitheater, but a place where people can congregate and where kids can be read to. It's kind of an outdoor space like they have indoors now where the kids play and things like that, but more nature type stuff.
Help to add to the programming at the library and.
Right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C4 authorizes a contract with Opelika Ford to purchase one 2019 Dodge Durango at a cost of $24,073.17 to be used by the Public Safety Narcotics Section. This is a replacement vehicle.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C5 authorizes a contract with Stivers Ford Lincoln to purchase 2 Ford F-150 pickup trucks at a total cost of $66,124 to be used by the Construction and Maintenance Division of the Public Works Department. These are both replacement vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C6 authorizes a contract with National Auto Fleet Group to purchase a 2019 street sweeper at a cost of $210,294 to be used by the Public Works Department Right-of-Way Division. This is a replacement sweeper.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C7 authorizes a contract with Alabama Roofing and Sheet Metal Company at a cost of $195,518 to recoat and seal various City of Auburn facilities' roofs.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
This was bid out, I'm assuming.
Yes, this was a bid item.
And this is just for 3 facilities, the library, Dempsey, and Dean Road.
This is, yes.
Questions? Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C8 authorizes a contract with Truckworks Kenworth to purchase a dump truck for the Water Resource Management Collection Division at a cost of $100,402. This is an additional vehicle.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C9 authorizes a joint agreement between the City of Auburn and the City of Opelika to jointly fund the construction and operation maintenance of a skate park to be located on the site of the tennis courts at Indian Pines at a total cost of $300,000 divided equally between the two cities.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this?
Is there going to be any additional parking provided as part of this? The golf cart course lot tends to fill up on weekends.
There's no additional parking. There is some connectivity to the parking.
There will be some additional parking there to the west side, which is closer to East University Drive.
Thank you.
Questions? We have motion is second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C10 authorizes a contract in the amount of $300,000 with the American Ramp Company to construct a skate park to be located on the side of the tennis courts at Indian Pines. This is a joint project with the City of Opelika where each city pays half the total cost.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
So the budget is budgeted 300,000, is that right?
We actually have, the skate park is budgeted at $300,000. We have looked at our portion of that being $150,000, but we're looking at $200,000 because we're thinking there might be overruns. So if there are, both cities will pay equally. So basically, we're looking at no more than $400,000, but the request is for $300,000.
And us and the City of Opelika will be sharing liability on this?
Yes.
Question from the attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10C11 authorizes a contract with Auburn Mall for space to set up an ice rink, which will be open to the public from Thanksgiving weekend through President's Day, which is Monday, February 18th.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Jim, so we did this downtown at South Page Street last year.
This is different. This is an actual real ice rink. It's bigger than what we had down on Gay.
Well, this is exciting.
And
It's real ice.
This is a collaboration with the City of Opelika, the Tourism Bureau, the City of Auburn. So there's multiple entities sharing in this.
Yes.
Do we charge patrons of this fee?
Yes.
To participate?
Yes.
And that money goes to Parks and Rec or something, or what?
I'm not exactly sure how that is.
Actually, the contract calls for us not to have to pay the vendor All we have to do is provide the utilities for them to be able to have the water and power for their ice and, the tent and all of that, and then the vendor will take in the money for the charge. And that's how they make their money off of the ice rink.
The contract has the licensee, which is the city, at its sole expense and cost, will provide one person on site the whole time. So we're going to provide a person at our cost.
So we will, have somebody there during the, times that it's open, that's right.
That'll just be a regular, already
It's a staff person.
staff person.
Yes.
Okay.
Paramedic. Tim, this is anticipated to be open on the 16th?
Yes.
The target date is to have it open, by Thanksgiving weekend. So,
Running until President's Day, is that right?
Yes.
Running till President's Day, yes, which is February.
And the hours of operation, but, that's, okay, sorry, it's laid out.
Questions? Got a motion and a second, I believe. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10D1 is the vacation of right-of-way along Comanche Drive. A public hearing is required.
We'll open up the public hearing. I'd like to address the council on this. Please come forward with your name and address. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing.
Move for approval?
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10D2 is the acceptance of various drainage and utility easements in the Avenue development.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10D3 is the acceptance of utility and access easements from St. Michael the Archangel Parish.
Move for approval?
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10D4 is the acceptance of a lot on which the preserve pump station is located.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
What is this pump? This fresh water or sewage?
This would be a sewage pump.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Those are all the items we have on the agenda this evening.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Well, it would,